This exhibition, Snow Globe, brings together the work of 4 Melbourne-based artists: Christopher Day, Nabilah Nordin, Preval, and Nikolaus Dolman. The exhibition doesn't follow a specific curatorial premise, but instead this pause in time has enabled the gallery to bring together the works of 4 artists that they've been engaging with and excited by for some time. Christopher Day is a very exciting Melbourne-based artist working with photography. There's been a bit of a shift in Christopher's practice, the way that he predominantly worked with more conventional means of photography, single images, and now he's moved to a process of collaging. What you'll see are these analogue black and white photographs shot on 35mm film. You can see the materiality, the grain, the tactile nature of photography, which he's scanned in and created these digital collages, which then again printed on an absorbent rag paper, which he paints over the top with, creating a texture and layering again with acrylic and watercolour paints. There's something very kind of dreamlike and psychological in the way that he's working. You'll see elements of nature mixed in with this kind of almost anthropomorphic forms. These works of Christopher's are quite typical of the artist's practice at the moment, the way he's working with this layered watercolour on top of the rag paper. There's a lot in these images, they kind of oscillate between abstraction and figuration.
So for this exhibition, I have 3 sculptures that I've put in for the show. They're made out of various materials like wood, there's lots of layers of thick glue and liquid nail glue specifically, which has been used, for example, in this work to encase the wooden structure inside. So I've used glue to attach bits of different shapes of wood together and then coated it all with a layer of glue. So the sculpture sort of encased in this type of skin that's, to me, quite visceral and bodily. And in the three works, I've used various materials in a kind of quick and what I feel is a freeing type of way, where in my practice I like to challenge myself in how materials can come together to make a sculpture stand, or to stick together in a way that's quickly assembled, and that's the challenges that I really enjoy when making sculptures like this. It's sort of like the joy of discovering solutions on the spot and on the go. So with making sculpture, for me, it's really like, I feel a lot like a science experiment, and a bit like this kind of sculptural vocabulary that never ends. There's always a new thing to discover, especially with using, hardware materials like liquid nail. There's something about, there's so many ways that I can use liquid nail. It's used to stick things together, it can be used to coat things, it can be used as a finished glaze on things. So that's sort of the joy that I find in making sculpture.
So my work explores the immediacy and disposability of consumer culture. And this current series is taken from billboard aesthetics and advertising ephemera. More of a formalistic approach to the typography used in the conventions of advertising. I dissect mostly numbers. These are zeros, or were originally zeros, and 9s have been sort of a favourite as well. But this particular series of work, I wanted to sort of have a flatness and depth interplay, but also like a sort of a stretch or struggle between the two, with the outline of texture, but also the flatness and seemingly like foreground, background depth play. You can see like a shadow line and depth, but then the zeros, the melting zeros, have this like complete I guess like a distorted perspective coming in from the shape or the window, which I hope like throws you off a little bit.
This is my work, Arena 2. It's from 2014. At the time, it was from a body of work that was looking at like queer monumentality and spectacle and sort of articulations of queer desire. Also, I was really obsessed with barriers for a period. But I just think they're a great form. What I was interested in is isolated, how it divides space. And when you think about them in terms of like spectacle and parade or like authoritarian kind of divisions of space, alone, you don't have a front or a back, so that kind of confuses that, where you sit in relation to that idea of spectacle in this case. And also I was interested in collage and kind of a collapsing of different orders. So this was a way of sort of subverting the formality of this object and kind of, like I guess a queer subversion. That's a bronze cast of my limp wrist, kind of was just propping this form up. And I guess I was interested in the idea that through that gesture it sort of internalizes both positions of the barrier, the spectacle and the